So, I know it's been a while. New year, new me. And just so happens that this semester I'm taking a public speaking class, and our first assignment is an informative speech. I have the criteria up, that's why I'm so close. He says an informative speech expands knowledge about a particular rhetorical artifact. Rhetorical artifacts include events, figures, and ideas during historical eras. Select and present a rhetorical artifact located within your course narrative. So that's the criteria. And I kind of went on a limb and chose utilitarianism. So the speech has to be no shorter than 4 minutes and no more than 6. So to help me out, I am going to set a timer. I know a lot of people don't agree with that nowadays, but um, now, should I do a timer or a stopwatch? Hmm. We'll do a stopwatch, but I figure what better way to help me get more comfortable with public speaking than speaking publicly, even if that's virtual. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and set this in 3, 2, 1. Picture this. Your transoceanic flight is having a problem. Let me restart. Hold on. That's my attention getter, the picture this, and he wants us to basically have it like a verbal essay. So a starting part and then two like main points or body points, so to say. And my two examples are going to be the trolley car example or corollary problem, whatever you want to identify it as, and a scene from this TV show called The Boys on Prime Video. It's a superhero show, and this scene in particular has one of the heroes, Homelander, and another one named Queen Maeve, who are tasked to save a transoceanic flight, which is a fancy way to say going across international waters. But the initial hope that the passengers on the plane feel begins to gradually decrease as the heroes go through their thought process out loud and basically they go from saving everybody to saving some people, saving none. And I'll get deeper to that in my speech, but without further ado, take 2, 3, 2, 1. Picture this. Your I stopped it. I just want this to be good. Take 3, 3, 2, 1. Picture this. Your transoceanic flight has a problem. Who other do you call than superheroes? Homelander and Queen Maeve arrive on your plane, and you feel hopeful. However, as they think out loud, you hear them consider saving everybody. However, that's unrealistic. So then they move down to saving some people. However, they then realize that the ones who survive will tell the story. So in conclusion, they wind up saving nobody and letting the plane go down. You might be curious how this relates or what my speech can be based on the information that I just gave. Today, I'm here to present the idea of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism, as we went over in a previous philosophy class, is an ideology stating that I don't want to do, I paused it, I'm going to reset, but I don't want to have any sentence fillers like, so, or like fidgeting around uncomfortable. Just want to do this one take, and to make this as authentic as possible, that's why the camera's on. What is this, take 4? Reset. 3, 2, 1. Picture this. Your transoceanic flight has an issue. It's a well-known fact that it's going down. However, lucky for you, 2 superheroes find and board your plane. Their names are Homelander and Queen Maeve. You originally feel relieved as these heroes, as their job states, are here to save the day. However, your sense of relief gradually decreases as you hear them think out loud and consider saving everybody. However, that's not realistic. Therefore, they consider saving some people, but then they remember that the survivors would tell the story about who they chose to save. So they ultimately wind up saving nobody and letting the plane go down. You might be wondering what this example has to do with my topic. This might have helped you lean in a little bit, but with this in mind, today I'm here to talk about utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is a philosophical ideology that focuses on the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So based on that, some may argue that it's slightly democratic. Utilitarianism is shown in that example, which actually comes from a TV show called The Boys, which is about superheroes, because originally they consider saving everybody, they being the superheroes, Queen Maeve and Homelander. However, that's unrealistic, as Homelander himself says that he can't stop the plane because his fist will just go through it at the speed that the plane is going, which will ultimately do more harm than good. Queen Maeve tries to reassure Homelander that they can still save some people, at least some, or as many as they can. However, Homelander helps Maeve snap back to reality and realize that if they choose to save some people over others, the ones that survive will be able to tell the story about who got chosen and who didn't. Therefore, Homelander, although a bit of a sadistic choice, decides upon letting the plane go down. Although Queen Maeve originally argued, she wound up taking his side and the plane went down. Another prime example of utilitarianism is seen in the trolley car allegory, problem, whatever you want to call it, where there's a trolley car coming down a hill and the brakes are out. So it can't stop. You can either choose one direction or the other. If you go to the left, and there's different variations of this, by the way. So in some, it may be you kill 5 babies on one side, or 1 old person, or just 5 people versus 1 person. Regardless, either way, somebody has to die. The question, if you don't choose, you're going to die because the trolley car is going to go down and off the track. If you go to the left, you kill X amount of people. If you go to the right, you kill X amount of people. So you may be curious how this ties into utilitarianism. And again, as stated before, utilitarianism is defined as the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So if there are 5 people on the left side and 1 person on the right, then the greater good, sadly, would be to kill the 1 person in order to save the 5. Although these examples may be a bit dramatic and harsh, we make utilitarian decisions on a day-to-day basis without realizing. Say you're stuck in the elevator, you're not stuck in the elevator, the doors are closing. The elevator's already full. Do you stop the doors from already closing, even though the elevator is full, to let 1 more person in? Or do you let everybody else be comfortable, which is a bit of a contradictory word in itself because the elevator's packed. However, would you add 1 more to an already packed elevator? Long story short. These examples are here to show that, or just a couple ways to show how some of the decisions we make in life are hard. And yes, everybody wants to protect or defend number 1, as we refer to ourselves. Sometimes we have to think about how our actions affect other people. So as I pose the same question I started with, what would you do in these situations? Would you risk? Would you try to save them? Time's up anyway. 5:11 and 82 milliseconds. But I'm also that's it. So cut for utilitarianism, but I'm kind of getting back in the hang of this. I don't like how I just like dropped off from making videos. I mean, I posted a reel and got like 1,000 views, and my video views were steadily increasing. But I mean, what has it been? At least a month since I last uploaded. So I don't like that, and it contradicts with me as a person if I'm focused on consistency. So the very least I can do is post once a month, and I don't want to like overcommit myself and say I will be posting every 2 weeks and then slack off. So at the bare minimum, the floor for my content is going to be once every month. Maybe more, maybe not, but once every month is the bare minimum. Besides that, life's been same old, in all honesty. If I really, I'm just gonna say it. I preferred being in college than at home, and not for like a bad reason. I don't have a bad relationship with my family. I just like independence, and I don't see how my family has done so well over the past 18 years in molding me into who I am, and then still thinking that I'm a bird that needs to stay in the nest. Like, no, I'm fine. I have a solid foundation. And I say that not to be arrogant, but just being completely honest, because I mean, I cook, I clean, I wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym. What else do I do? I speak Chinese. Obviously, English is my native language. I take German lessons. I had a 3.65 freshman year, or excuse me, first semester freshman year. This is second semester freshman year. But, and that's a little complicated as well. There were some issues with some teachers and faculty and staff, whatever you want to refer to them as. But I feel like there's a lot that I have to catch people up on. And when I say people, also, this is going to go off on another tangent, but I'm not really in this for the views, but I don't know. I don't like feeling like a consumer. I prefer to produce than I do consume, I'd rather make my own food than go out somewhere. I'd rather make my own video than watch somebody else's. I don't like the concept of other people doing stuff that I am physically able to do and just choose not to. So that's really why I started this channel. That's really why I'm starting to post again. But I mean, for now, I think that's all I have. Today is January 19th, so another 2 weeks from now is February. Plus, this is a Monday. Normally I wouldn't post on a Monday. It would be a Saturday or Sunday, so. But we'll do sometime in the next 2 weeks just to keep up this consistency, because it's in every other aspect of my life, so why not this one? I've been working on this project as well. I just started yesterday, actually, and well, since we're talking about projects, my Scale Instagram account, the views have been going down, in all honesty, but I mean, I did hit 300K at one point, 77,000, 1K on a reel, 12K on TikTok, 61K over a month. $100,000, 200,000, 300,000. But now I'm trying to adjust to the algorithm, because I'm not sure if you've seen, TikTok took on a similar feature to Instagram where you can only do 5 hashtags max. So my videos aren't reaching as much, because I used to put as many hashtags as possible to reach as many people as possible, but now I have to stick with 5. So that changes a lot. But needless to say, I'm still posting. If not 3, then 2 times a day. TikTok, same thing. If not 3, then 2 times. I don't really use my main Instagram. I want my next post for that to be athletic related and like me hitting my goal with football, but that whole thing's up in the air. I actually have to go to the coach's office tomorrow, which by the time that I post another video, I should have an update on. I really don't have a lot going on in my life. I don't go out, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, I don't hook up. So all I really have is myself, which isn't a bad thing. You're born alone and you die alone. And I mean, I guess for me in between is just making sure I'm the best version of myself. So that's all I had. I don't have any fancy intro or fancy outro. This is me.